Have you ever heard a story so unbelievable that it sounds like a legend, yet every word pulls you deeper into the truth? Imagine a woman arriving out of nowhere in a war-torn land, carrying nothing but a rifle and faith that seemed unshakable. To some, she was an angel sent by God. To others, she was a savior who single-handedly protected 25 souls from certain death. But what if I told you her story held a secret so dark, so shocking, that when it came to light, it left even the soldiers who worshipped her stunned and broken? This is not just a tale of bullets and battle. This is about faith, sacrifice, betrayal, and the haunting truth behind a woman who appeared divine, until her shadow was revealed. Stay with me till the end, because you won't believe the twist. And before we begin, hit subscribe so you never miss stories that keep you glued to the very last word. The village of Caramel was burning. Children screamed. Men scrambled for cover. Gunfire cracked through the air as a militia group stormed the settlement. Soldiers stationed nearby were outnumbered, overwhelmed, and pinned down. Hope was vanishing. And then, from the haze of smoke, she appeared. A woman dressed not in uniform, but in a plain, weathered coat. Her hair was tied back roughly, her face streaked with dirt, her eyes sharp and unflinching. In her hands, an old but well-kept rifle. She walked with the calmness of someone who had seen death before and refused to fear it. The militia spotted her, laughed at her presence, and raised their weapons. But before the first bullet flew, she had already taken her position on a rooftop. One shot, then another, then another. Precision. Cold accuracy. Each trigger pull dropped an enemy closer to the villagers. Soldiers hiding behind broken walls peeked out in disbelief. "Who is she?" one whispered. "Doesn't matter," another answered. "She's on our side." In less than 20 minutes, the tide turned. The militia retreated under her relentless fire. 25 villagers, who had been moments away from slaughter, survived because of her. To the people, she wasn't just a woman with a rifle. She was salvation. That night, whispers spread in the camp. She was sent by God. Some called her an angel. Others a ghost. But all agreed, without her, they'd be dead. Her name, she said, was Mara. She never revealed her last name. When asked where she came from, she gave vague answers: the next town over, far from here, a place you've never heard of. But her actions spoke louder than words. Wherever soldiers were trapped, Mara appeared. She carried her rifle like it was an extension of her body, every bullet guided by an unseen hand. Her presence turned fear into courage. When the men saw her step forward, they followed without hesitation. She didn't take orders, yet officers didn't dare question her. She came and went like a phantom. Sometimes she'd vanish for days, then return exactly when needed most. And every time she fought, lives were saved. By the third week, people were calling her the Hand of God. Churches whispered her name in prayers. Villagers left food and flowers outside her makeshift shelter. Soldiers who survived battles because of her swore they had seen her deflect bullets, her figure glowing in the firelight. But Mara never accepted praise. When thanked, she only said, "Don't thank me. Thank him. I'm only his instrument." Among the soldiers was Lieutenant David Rains, a young officer hardened by loss but still carrying hope. Unlike others, he didn't see Mara as divine, he saw her as human. He noticed the tremor in her hands after a long firefight. He saw the shadows in her eyes when she thought no one was watching. And slowly, Mara allowed him closer. Late at night, by dying campfires, she spoke, not of herself, but of the people she had saved, of children she had carried to safety, of mothers she had comforted. David began to feel something dangerous in war. Attachment. One night, he asked, "Why do you do it? Why risk yourself for people you don't even know?" Mara looked at him, her expression unreadable. "Because I've taken too many lives. Saving them is the only way I can sleep." David frowned. Taken lives? You mean in battle? But Mara didn't answer. She stood, rifle slung across her back, and walked into the night. As the weeks turned into months, Mara's legend only grew. 25 lives saved. Then 30. Then 40. To the villagers, she was untouchable. But to the higher military command, whispers turned into suspicion. Who was she? How did she appear out of nowhere with combat skills sharper than trained snipers? Why were her records non-existent? David overheard officers muttering. She's dangerous. Too good. Too unknown. At first, he dismissed it as paranoia. But then, strange details surfaced. Mara's rifle bore markings not from their army, but from the enemy's stock. Once, after a raid, soldiers found her alone with 3 dead militia members, each shot precisely through the heart, execution style. She claimed she had saved captives. But no captives were found. The doubts grew louder. Was Mara truly sent by God, or sent by someone else? The truth emerged one cold dawn, when a patrol stumbled across a hidden encampment. Inside a buried locker were documents, photos, and weapons. And among them, an identification card. The picture was unmistakable. Mara. But the name was different. Maria Vostrikov. A former enemy sniper. A deserter from the very militia she had been fighting against. Records showed she had been one of their most lethal assassins, credited with over 50 confirmed kills, many of them soldiers on David's own side. The realization hit like a thunderbolt. The woman worshipped as God's messenger had once been the devil's hand. When confronted, Mara didn't deny it. She stood before the officers, her head held high, her voice steady. Yes. I was theirs. I killed for them. I believed in their cause once. I was blinded. But I broke away. Every life I take now is theirs repaid. Every life I save is my penance. Some wanted her executed. Others argued she had saved more lives than she had taken. The camp split in two, half still seeing her as an angel, the other half as a traitor in disguise. David was torn. He remembered her trembling hands, her haunted eyes. She wasn't lying. She had killed. But she had also saved him, and countless others. The debate ended abruptly one night when the militia launched their fiercest assault yet. Dozens of armed men stormed the camp, mortars raining fire. Soldiers scrambled. Panic spread. And Mara vanished. Some shouted she had betrayed them, run back to her old masters. But David refused to believe it. He grabbed his rifle and fought on. Hours dragged like years. The enemy pushed closer. The lines were breaking. Then, just as hope collapsed, a single shot rang out from the ridge. Then another. And another. Mara was there. Alone. Picking off the attackers with brutal precision. Her presence bought enough time for reinforcements to arrive. The militia was crushed, their assault broken. But when the smoke cleared, Mara lay on the ridge, blood soaking her coat. Her rifle beside her, empty. She had fought until her last bullet, and her last breath. In her pocket, David found a letter. I was never sent by God. I was cursed by my past. But if saving them redeems even one of my sins, then maybe he will forgive me. Do not remember me for who I was. Remember me for what I chose to be. Mara's secret was revealed to all. She had been both monster and savior, sinner and saint. The woman who saved 25 lives with her rifle had also taken dozens before. But in her final moments, she chose sacrifice over survival. To the villagers, she remained the angel who appeared when needed most. To the soldiers, she was a complicated truth. Proof that people are not defined only by their darkest past, but by the choices they make to overcome it. And to David, She was the woman who proved that redemption is the hardest battlefield of all. So, was she sent by God? Or was she a lost soul searching for forgiveness? Perhaps both. Perhaps neither. But one thing is certain, her story will live on forever. And if this story left you speechless, if it made you feel the weight of courage, betrayal, and redemption, make sure you subscribe now. Because we bring you more stories of the human spirit, stories that remind us heroes aren't born, they're made in the fire of their choices.